Aloha! I'm Michál Anna. Join me Wednesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. for Intuitive Talk Story. Tap into authentic, heart-centered discussions about topics related to understanding the self, our relationship to others, our community, our environment, and exploring ways to live in harmony. Talking story intuitively with myself and with guests, sharing different perspectives with the intention of living our joy. Tap in to Intuitive Talk Story, Wednesdays, 3 to 4 p.m.
B96.1 FM, Kohala. Yeah.
Aloha and welcome to Intuitive Talk Story. I'm Michál Anna, your host, and I am so excited to have today on my show special guest, a dear brother of mine, dear friend I've known, a good 20-some years. We've studied many of the same arts and music. He's an amazing being. He's lived in the islands for quite some time, between the islands, now California, but was here for many moons. And he's been doing the work, and we've been doing some great work together. And I'm so excited to have him come on the show and talk about that work and his experiences. So welcome, Gabe, to Intuitive Talk Story.
Aloha, Michál.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to the show.
Yes, I'm excited. And in the vein of Intuitive Talk Story, we're going to open it up by just taking a breath, taking a moment for everyone out there and ourselves in here to just close our eyes and breathe and come into our center and feel ourselves fully present, grounded and connected to the earth, dropping in, releasing anything you've been doing, if at all possible, and just being with yourself to be fully present, to listen, to engage in your mind, spirit, body, exploration, to know the self better, and to be connected to your source, God of your heart, the earth, nothing else, coming into this sacred framework for higher understanding, learning, expansion, growth, awareness, in spirit of unity. Mahalo nui loa ke akua, and so it is. Yes, so in the spirit coming together, it's really so very cool because Gabe and I have known each other a really long time, and he has a family, and he's going to tell you a little bit about all of these things, but it's so fun to reflect with him at this time in the game when so much is alive on the planet and we all have such deep opportunity to move through our stuff. And you hear me talk about that a lot. So I'm going to let you hear a little bit from Gabe on that. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what your experience is these days.
Well, I'm a father of 3 boys, 17, 13, and 6. Amazing little youth who have come to teach me more than I thought I knew, and every day is more lessons involved with being a father, a provider, a partner to the women in my life and to myself.
Beautiful. You are a father of 3. I bet that keeps your hands full.
Indeed.
And I'm sure there's plentiful reflections in having 3 boys. Oh, why don't you start off with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, the reflections are real. The mirror and everything you think about reflections going into it, you're like, oh, that looks like me, or he does this like me, or, he eats this kind of food like me, the common stuff. But, the deeper I've been exploring and seeing, with this state of age we're in right now, with the technology that us parents are battling, it comes down to not battling our kids anymore, and we're battling the system. So we're trying to pull the system away from our family so we can focus as a family unit again. And, as much as it's hard, as much as it is easy, because, we're bringing clarity, but there's a lot of work involved. And that's what I'm exploring and learning today as we speak. I'm not a master of any of this. I'm actually coming through some major breakthroughs as a father and a partner in this moment. Even as we're speaking, I'm learning something as stuff comes out of my mouth. In the moment, I'm learning in the moment right now. But my kids, through the technology and everything, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stuff. It's hard to access to them, and then you really do start seeing who you are in them, and you want to be scared by it because it's real. It's not just like a reflection anymore. It's literally your inner self, your inner child, your inner trauma, whatever you want to call it, like self-manifested in this human being now that you have to be responsible for, not like, oh, they'll grow out of it and I hope they're going to be okay. Like, we still can only guide. We don't own anybody particular, but, these children are ours, and we have to create that space for them to find themselves truly in it and not find themselves through other influences out there that are coming at them at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And no sword is fast enough, and no, nothing's fast enough. The only thing that's fast enough is just shut that down and focus on yourself and your kids in real time, not with modern technology that we're fighting against.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of great points. Definitely the technology. I want to come back to that. But you also brought up just learning every day. And, and for all of us, no matter where we are in our understanding or learning, we're all just learning every day. And that's a really important place, I think, for us all to be, is that we're all learning like nonstop. I really do feel like I have a lot of knowledge about certain things, but there's a lot of things I know nothing about. There's a lot of things that I'm like, oh, wow. And even the things I think I know, they change a lot. Like,
Right.
I'm like, I thought I really knew one thing, and then I'm like, none of that's real.
Yeah.
Now I don't think that's real at all. Now this is something, and then no, maybe not that either. So being unattached to what we think we know, you guys hear me talk a lot out there, and, I say, for the most part, I'm talking conceptually because things shift all the time. They're moving. So we know something, and I too, have crushed my life and have, wow, things I thought were real, boom, are not real. And wow, amazing. And I want to then say at the same time, yeah, speaking to when you're just starting out baby steps on your spirit path of owning your mind, which is kind of what we're getting into here, is owning your mind. Like, how am I moving through the world? What is this reflection in front of me showing me? And for a lot of us, a lot of people, it's hard to see until you have children and have that reflection in front of you, right?
Right. I mean, even without children, I think just as men in general, boys and men, there's a lot different kind of complications, I guess.
Right, but maybe you don't have a motivation. Like, your motivation, what I hear you say is that your motivation in having good self-growth has been a lot in part to wanting to be a good father.
For sure.
And
a good partner.
A good partner, and, to be an example, to set an example to these beings that you've brought into the world. And I think, like, that's a good place to start. We all need motivation. So I think
Right.
a lot of men also are motivated by showing up, to be a good partner or be a good man in some regard. And talk a little bit about that pressure, because there's so many roles that get put on men.
Yeah. The pressure is real, for sure. The kids look up to you more than you notice because you want to hope that they don't follow everything you're doing, because we're not perfect. And, the partner, whoever your partner's with, they always say a happy wife, happy life. Absolutely. But it's a lot deeper than that, coming in from your long day and being able to put all that to the side and take a breath for yourself, and I don't know where I'm going to go with this, but like in the bigger picture, it's really, finding that peace within to come home to your family without bringing home your day. And it's not always easy because there's a lot, and you're, as a human being, a man or a woman, like, you're out there, it feels like you're in this battle with the world, like I do physical labor, and, a lot of people do, or whatever it is, even if it's office or whatever. You're with yourself and you're battling your day and you're dealing with the struggles, whether it's the heat, the strength, something hurts, whatever it is, you want to come home and share that, but it's not there. Your family isn't there to carry that burden. You have to leave that at the door in a way and show up for your family, and then they'll want to know and listen and be a part of that.
I love what you're saying is you're learning tools like for someone. So for instance, one of the things, I think you're speaking to and that I'm just going to shout out is that anyone out there talking about ways that it felt maybe like I get activated or triggered, or I walk in the door and I'm like, wow, and I lose it, or talking about stuff like that, like creating,
Right.
or I might just dump my energy when I get home, go blah, 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 happen to me, rah, 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 rah. And that feels like ugh, to the family. So if that's something that you find yourself doing per se, like the reflection there is like, oh, there's ways to meet my own needs first, and you're learning how to really meet your own needs first, take care of something in yourself, and breathe through that, and then be responsible for that in your own day, and then go meet up with these other beings whom you love, connect in with them, and then out of natural connection, perhaps our day does come up, and now we connect and
Right.
talk about our day. But now I'm not dumping on my friend, and whether they're my friend, my boyfriend, my partner, my wife, my lover, my kid, all those are sacred relationships, right? And I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, your best friend, whatever. Like we've all had a hard day,
Yeah.
or a good day, or a great day, or an any day, But to just come in and connect first, like put it to the side. It's what I've been. My partner I'm with, she, expresses that a lot, and I never got it. It never clicked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not angry. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not fussed. Stuff like that. And then I'm having reflections through other relationships where I see that towards me, and I'm like, oh wow, that's a really uncomfortable place to be in. Why is it's not fair to just you're chilling and someone comes in and there's all this like heavy energy, negative, whatever it is, instead of just connect.
No one's a doormat.
No one's a doormat. Come and connect, and then open up that space,
Mm-hmm.
But connect. But it's also, it's a hard growth too, like it's being okay with your emotion, like emotionally strong within yourself, and okay, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to express that to anybody. I know what I've done today, and I'm good with that.
I just want to celebrate that you see it. So first off, out there, we got to see it. And here you are seeing it. You weren't able to hear it, which often we aren't with maybe a partner right in front of your face. But the anger issue, we deflect, right? We'll deflect, justify, make excuses. And the blame game can come in a lot. Victimizer can come in a lot with that type of programming, which honestly, what is our anger coming from? Not feeling safe. Right? Like needing to feel safe, needing to feel loved, needing to feel cared for. That's what's really going on. And what I love is that, Gabe's been being very courageous and going into the deeper work that he has founded in himself over a long period of time, honestly. But I've gotten the opportunity to work with him in this last 3 months. He's been really activating more things, and I've really seen the change. I know I've gotten to speak to his family a bit, and they're seeing the change. And so, this part about you said holding your own pain, right? And being able to come in the door and not lay it on your family. But part of that is that we actually come home to our Holy Mother and to the divine feminine, which I think is the big piece missing for a lot of men. So would you mind sharing a little bit about that experience for you and how that plays in to your capacity to be able to hold more space and feel held yourself?
Yeah. Trying to put that together. Question that.
So, when we've worked with wounding, for instance,
Right.
like when we talk about wounds, etc., we'll go in and repattern, and we find a lot of times, and what would you like to share about what you found in your wound story of how my mother or my unsupportive energies with our familial lineages created these places where our inner child didn't feel supported and loved.
Right.
So really what's happening is you're playing that out again, trying to
Right.
get loved with your mom.
Yeah, trying to get acknowledgement or something from, my partner, like, hey, yeah. So, yeah, that's been a lot of my work, I guess, is healing my wounded, hurt child, for sure. Yeah, coming and seeing you the past few months, break that part open. It's something I could put it into words to other people, but to put it into work, it's a whole different thing, and then even as you start to work on it, you slip, and then you want to be upset because you couldn't get through it again, like, oh, okay, I'm feeling good, and then I slipped, and I'm angry again, and I'm hurt, and but yeah, keep trying. I mean, if I'm still being tested on the daily. But yeah, I have my father passed recently, and that was a huge kind of like awakening call, like seeing him and like really kind of trying to study how he lived for the 70 something years that he was alive in that wounded child's self, and never had the tool or the access to heal that side of him. He lived his entire life wounded, which what brought me to wanting to work on myself for my kids is he was a big part of our childhood hurt. He didn't know how to be loved. So in return, he was afraid to love us, because if he loved us, then we would love him back, and he didn't know how to deal with that. He was something in there where he was either afraid to get hurt, like feel loved and then get hurt, or I'm still processing that, whether that's mine or not. He took that with him, but he showed me I don't want to leave that behind to my children. If anything, I want to take that away from my children. Every generation we can pull stuff away and help each of us go through it. And my father was stuck, and I didn't know why. I thought he just didn't care for us, and whatever it was, just like the movie, sitting on the side of the road waiting for him to show up, and he never did. And that was real life, and there was never anything that we did or whatever, but we just didn't understand it until he passed. And then it kind of like it hit. It was one of the hardest people in my life. I've lost quite a few people in my life, not family, but close friends and people dear to me, and that one hit me the hardest. I did not think it was going to happen, but it was for a good reason. And so he's still here and gets to teach me to change that. He didn't have the tools. He didn't have friends like you and people in his life to like, hey, there's little, they're not, I don't want to call them secrets, because we all have the access to these tools, but it does take work, and it does take a moment. And the hardest part as a man is reflecting and saying it's okay to feel certain ways to get through it, because when you're angry, you're really either just sad or you're hurt or something. The anger is just disguising this inner pain that you don't want to express to somebody in front, because you'll feel vulnerable. But it's okay, and the more vulnerable you can feel to get through that, to heal yourself, then honestly you can become more of a man. Because a man screaming and crying out of anger, and however that expresses itself, whether it is domestic abuse or verbal abuse. I'm guilty of saying stuff to my children I wish I could take back, but I can't. And that was verbal emotional abuse to my own friends around me, my friends, my family, people I work with, taking it out in like a very immature emotional way, whatever that became. But so to be able to be vulnerable, see yourself for who you are, what your damages are, and work through them, whether, and you only have yourself. You have people like you who can help give us tools and guide or give us, the baby steps it takes, but really only you can do it. No one's going to guide you through that. No one's going to hold your hand through that part. That's the hardest part, is knowing, it's not the hardest, but knowing you have to walk through those vulnerable parts by yourself and really look at it and see it. And if it grosses you out, let it gross you out. If it makes you sick to your stomach because of the person you've been, let it. It's okay, because if you don't, then you're never going to grow. You're just always going to be stuck. So, like, feel the pain, feel the stuff that you've said, the stuff that you did, and move on. And then just tell yourself, I want to be a better person. I want to heal. I want to, when I walk by someone, I want them to look at me and smile because I carry, something meaningful in my life, and just, let go.
Mm-hmm. Let go.
And it's not an easy path. But it's also not an easy path to just be angry or have these hidden emotions that hurt other people around you because you can't step up and deal with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so proud of you. I mean, I just have to say, shout out, because I know how hard it is for the men. I've tried to hold someone's hand through that process. It doesn't work. Everybody has to do it on their own. And it's a deep journey of recognizing the self. And I've been going through my own, of course, over many years, and all the traumas and such. And I love what you're speaking on really just ownership and you taking the responsibility. And as a man who has activated anger, I've been on the other side of something like that myself. And so to hear a man actually take ownership of that, claim responsibility for it, say, hey, I'm really sorry how I showed up. I really didn't mean this. And I am recognizing how I impacted my family, my friends. That, to me as a woman, feels impactful. Like, it helps heal my heart just hearing you as a man say that. For me, even in my own experience with men, because I've had a lot of traumatic experiences myself that have been very intense. I had the exact match to a lot of what you're talking about, and have seen it firsthand and the other side, and in a different way with someone who wasn't ready to do that. And it's so painful. And so to feel your presence, to feel your movement forward, and to see you taking the responsibility and stepping up and being courageous enough to be vulnerable and to open your heart to source, to God, to truth, to love, to life, it is just so beautiful. And I know one of your boys, and love him to pieces, and have gotten to work with him too, and gosh, the magnitude of watching that already taking place in the lineage, good on you. So I love what you said, that as you do this, through your father, you were able to see more about yourself and then realize, wow, this is something that's been perpetuated through the lineage. This hasn't just been my gig. This has been more than myself. And I have the opportunity, as the one that's got the DNA incarnate, I have the opportunity to change that. I get to shift it for my boys, for those that come after me, that they're not going to have to do the same thing I've had to do. So the choices you're making do impact all that's before you and all that's behind you. And so that awareness is huge, and being able to use that as fuel to then take a look at the deeper parts, even when it's uncomfortable. It takes so much courage. So thank you for being on the path, for doing the work, for taking responsibility day by day, moment by moment, because that's exactly what it is. It's not like, oh, you made it, you're there, high five.
No. No. They just, no. It's like being in a Star Wars galaxy, and they just keep flying past you, and you take them as they come. But each time you make that next, I've been calling them tests. We could all name every part of our journey how we want it. I label them as like tests or whatever. Like, okay, I know, whatever it is on the job site, how you get tested and then how you handle it. And I think even the best of the best are going to make mistakes and fail. But really, I see it, I'll look at them as I might go back to like an original pattern, that I've chosen to wire in my brain all these years of, reacting, like a react. I'll come into reaction modes, right? And but they become shorter, right? So instead of like, I'm trying to think of like an example. Something will happen where I'll feel attacked. We all know I wasn't being attacked, but I was feeling attacked. I was, in my mind, as the victim person. You could say, hey, I need you to, clean up your mess outside. Instantly in my head, like, oh, I'm a loser. I can't do anything right. And it just perpetuates, quick and fast and hot, to the point where you're just in this like place within yourself where you almost can't even get out, and you're just you're just destroying yourself, But those that would last however long become shorter and shorter and shorter. But yeah, so I look at those every night when I go to sleep, like, okay, the reactions were shorter before I was aware of it, to make a change or to breathe, whether it's breathe it through, talk it out, or take space for myself and go outside, or literally walk out of a conversation because it was, it's not my favorite word, but triggering, like, something in the conversation was like, about to push me to the edge of like where I'm about to, that's the, like control. It all really comes down to control, self-control. And we all hear that word all the time. Growing up, around wherever you're in, you hear self-control. But like, yeah, that's what, like, when you're in anger modes or these patterns, you're literally out of control. Oh, when they say, oh, you're out of control, like, no, you're out of control. It means you've lost control. You've lost focus of the moment. The moment is right here. The moment is like, oh, okay, we could work this out, or we have something to work on, or whatever it is. But once you go out of control, it's because you don't want to deal with that moment and be present. And yeah, go ahead, step outside for a minute if it's getting you to that point, so you can come back, but be back in the moment, and be present with that. That's, I guess it's all tied together.
Absolutely. And it's just so great to hear you saying these things, because they're things that in my own journey, I had at once upon a time wished for someone to say to me in recognition in my own personal journey, in trying to help another being. And to see men in my client space and in my family and brotherhood and in the planet taking ownership and responsibility at this point in time is just so great and magical. And it takes all the things you just talked about, and it's exactly that. It's crazy sauce. When you're in the midst of those anger patterns, I've witnessed them many times. It's like, you've got 30 seconds before that stuff is in, it's rolling, and it's hot. And once it's hot, you have to make choices to get yourself out, which I love that you're exhibiting. I'm just kind of bring a light to them once more, because I think they're great tools that you just brought up for anyone out there who's dealing with anger or frustration, control, and understanding that that's maybe coming from deeper wounding, father, mother, issues that maybe I didn't receive, I wasn't seen, valued, given what I needed, and that reactionary behavior is coming from that place. And then what are some things you can do? Well, you spoke to the first thing you try is breathing, taking some breaths, right? Getting into your center.
Yeah.
What's your immediate go-to right now?
I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
Because it's still all very new.
Sure.
Like the counting, count. Yeah, no, mine come way faster than 30 seconds. You're talking like 0.3 seconds I can see red.
Uh-huh.
So
yep.
It's having to be aware. First off, it's being aware that you're hurt. Start with that. Start with
admitting you're hurt.
Start with admitting that you're hurt. And whatever, it was, you don't have to, it's not for you to speak about to others. It's for you to go within yourself and heal that, like, it's okay. We all have our little inner children who want to play and have fun. We have the ones that are hurt. for whatever reason. It could be something small, it could be big, but it's your big. It's your hurt, and that's for you to be a part of. So, what have I been doing with it? I guess the more I'm aware of it, then it's not even so much breathing. It's just like I'm more aware of when I start to open my mouth and say something, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound healthy. that doesn't feel good to the person I'm talking to. Like, I'll start like getting back to my old pattern. Like, yeah, so and so and blah. I'm like, well, that's not gonna fix this. The only thing that fixes it is just, yeah, literally. I mean, it's weird, but literally tell yourself, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're hurt. It's okay. You're fine though.
And acknowledging the little boy, like we've talked about in the past. And do you do that in your daily experience? Do you put like your hands on your body ever?
I do.
Right? Okay. And so talk about that a little bit, about connecting with your inner child.
Yeah. I give myself kind of like a little hug. And it's, out to the men out there, it might not sound manlier, but you know what? It's going to make me a better man in the end, because we can't be a man if our child doesn't feel safe. Then we're just a screaming child.
Yep.
Who's looking for attention and looking for acknowledgement. There's another word for acknowledgement I can't think of, but like looking for
accolades.
Yeah, looking for some kind of like, well, but I
Fawning.
mowed the grass. Yeah, and
gold stars. I like to call those gold stars.
Yeah, and looking for that only because, and it's not your fault. That's the other thing. You have to be okay. Like, tell yourself that, because that helps me. It wasn't my fault. I didn't ask to be hurt or have whatever happened in my past, whether it was this life or lives before. But it is me, and it is what I'm dealing with. So it's okay to nurture that side and give it a pat on the back and say, okay, it's, you'll feel so much better when you feel good and confident with yourself. I'm talking to like the little child, like, it's okay. I got you. Like, I'm going to carry you through this life. And the more I scream and let you out, you don't have control because you're a little child. You don't understand. I'm the mature one. I'm the more wiser one. Let me deal with the situation, and you just sit back and let me protect you. Mm-hmm. Let me be present. So if I'm like you right now sitting at this table, like me, I'm present with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can start talking about something really easy right now and go into an emotional state about my past or something. Now we're going to be talking to my child.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to keep him just right here next to me or within me, and just, I got you. Mm-hmm. It's like I do remember before I, up until about 5 when I was with my dad, I remembered those little moments where I'd be on the chair and literally he would just put his hand on our back, and there was ultimate safety with that. There was like, no one can hurt me, no one could touch me, and it was just his hand. Whether he had a beer in his hand and watching TV, it didn't matter. The father, the man, put his hand on my back, and everything was okay. Mm-hmm. And that's our job now, is to our inner child and our children and all the keikis out there, and the grandfathers and the uncles, because they're all hurt too, and some of them won't have that time to go through this. But let every man know it's okay. Take it on. Like, it's okay. Like, be vulnerable.
And let go, like you said. Let go. Let go. The opportunity right now, and it matches right up to where we are. And just that everyone let go of and right now, like everybody out there, let's all take a breath and let go of a little more of what you don't need in the journey forward. Because right now we're rewriting time. We're rewriting everything. We have the ability to let go of our wounding, to let go of everything we don't want to take into this next chapter as we're really moving into a more unified experience for those that are ready to really operate in more compassion, more love, more community, more connection to each other, more authenticity, directness with their family, like speaking to what is not. We've done a lot of pretending in society, and I think I say often, if we all just admitted we all are traumatized. Everyone's been through trauma. Everybody has, whether it's big or small.
Yes,
and if
you're not alone.
Yeah, we've all been there, back and forward and back again. And I've been down in the mire and in the bottom of the well and torn around and bitten to pieces, and all the things. And it's tough. It's tough. It's wow. The density, the degradation, the shame, and shame is a big word in this soup.
Yeah.
The lowest vibratory field, and that's what honestly hits with rage and anger. You're working in shame. There's deep shame in there, which you touched on it earlier. Sabotage, victimizer programming, all those things come with this that we're speaking of. That Gabe's being so, vulnerable and sharing so deeply about, and that it's real. That's real. A lot of us have come from deep paradigms. And these moments of shame and not feeling seen, valued, loved, supported, they're real. And when we speak to it, we don't make it the scary thing or the elephant in the room anymore. We're willing to call it out. It no longer has power. It starts to dissipate because then we give the little child a hug, right? We go, wait, that doesn't have to rule us. We don't have to, it's not scary, something that we don't talk about. It's something we talk about. We show the light on it, and we breathe a new story into these paradigms. And I know you've experienced moments of pulling your inner child out of old stories, right?
Yeah.
And bringing them into this story. And what does this story mean? What do I really want to create? What is possible? How good can it actually be when we surrender all that's brought us pain? How can we really create? So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back with more Intuitive Talk Story. Thank you so much.
The Kohala Senior Citizens Club invites all seniors age 55 and older to join us. We meet Monday mornings at 9 o'clock at the Senior Center behind the King Kamehameha statue in Kapa'au. For more information, call or text Carla, 238-6111. Mahalo.
The Hawaii Emergency Management Agency needs you to help prevent wildfires on Hawaii Island. Be fire smart. Create an evacuation plan and know your community evacuation routes. You can help by staying prepared, knowing what to do, and spreading awareness on wildfires. Summers will continue getting hotter, forests will get drier, and more people will be facing the threat of wildfire. Stay prepared, stay aware, and stay ready. For more information, go to dod.hawaii.gov/HIEMA. Mahalo.
Won't you take me to that place?
Aloha. I just want to tell you not to listen to the Dead Air Show on KNKR LP 96.1 FM. We'll be playing some indie rock tunes, and you're not going to like it.
Won't you play my favorite song?
No.
My favorite song.
No.
Play my favorite song.
No.
Won't you play my favorite song? My favorite song. Play my favorite song.
LP 96.1 FM, Kohala.
Welcome back to Intuitive Talk Story. I'm Michál Anna, and having an awesome conversation here with my dear friend Gabe. And we're talking about moving through the mire and kind of the steps it takes to get to where we surrender and feel good. And, I know myself, it's taken a lot to get out of the well. I kind of did my own, what I call the Little Prince journey, if you ever read that book, but going through all the stages and fighting the dragons and fighting the demons and the two-headed things, and to remember and know who I am and kind of go to the bottom of the well and then come back out. And it's not easy, and it's been hard and deep and dark, and I've faced a lot of things along the way. And so I know you too have had quite an interesting journey, and I know I won't get into everything here, but what are some reflections you might have on your own deep dive into the bottom of the well?
Yeah, interesting. Well, it was interesting coming back here and meeting up with you again a few months back, because it was like I needed this like reset reminder. And I feel like I was hard on myself for that too. It wasn't even like inner child stuff. It was more I was hard on myself because I knew I feel we all know who we are when we're born. We know we hold the power. We have the answers, and we know how to be as a human being the second we're born. There isn't one species on the planet, the second they're born, they know what they're supposed to do. They know what kind of grasses they're supposed to eat. They know if they have wings and should fly, and what kind of nest to build it with. And I feel we do too, but we're humans, so there's ways to take that away from us through screen, whatever it is, informations to lose who we are. And I feel, I had my childhood, your basic, childhood in a rural neighborhood, fun streets, ice cream trucks, and schools and dirt bikes and BB guns and stuff like that. And then I went on a whole nother crazy journey, but I feel like I found this, like, that peace within myself, and that like oneness with nature, and the joyfulness, out, camping at hot springs and traveling around and like really having awesome connections with people, and like understanding the power of like healing through the mind. And we'd walk around with crystals, and then we'd literally see like things happen, like magic happen, and like, okay, cool, like this is awesome. And living that, and being a part of this world, playing the two planes together, where like you're in both planes without showing too much, so you could still be here but have this like amazing like knowledge, and feel so refreshed. And then all of a sudden I'm waking up and I'm 47 going, wait, how come the past like however many years, like I missed it? Like, I still was who I am. I wasn't not true to myself, but I was overtaken by my own self at the same time. Like I devoured my own self and wasn't practicing or living that standard that, I got caught up, or whatever, whatever you want to call it. I got caught up in, the rat race, or whatever word you want to say, but then having to come back through and be like, almost like, Michal slapped me in the face, splashing water on me. I got to get back to focus, The whole time everyone knows that, but you like literally lose traction or something, and then taking that initial breath and being like, okay, we got this, like, holy cow. But
recognizing that the pattern even needs to change is, like you said before, the very first step. And you can be really difficult to see that when you're inside of it, right? You get just bamboozled before you know it. You're enacting patterns, programming, which we didn't, like we said earlier, is actually really coming from those wounds, from all those things you've experienced earlier. It's just that as we get older, we start to just play them out, and we begin enacting the programming. And then we're just living it. And then, like you said, you wake up one day and you're like, this is not my life. What's going on? Why am I acting like this?
Right. Almost like you get comfortable in a situation, not to say you get lazy or anything, you're active people or whatever your lifestyle is. But yeah, like chasing that peace, or that happiness.
Thinking that something out there is going to bring you the happiness that is only gotten by going within.
Right. Yeah, you have to take a breath and see what you have right in front of you, and
be grateful.
Be very grateful and blessed, and
gratitude, that, like we say this a lot on this show, gratitude can get us up the vibrational ladder really quick. So if you can't get anywhere else, you can always get to gratitude. Always remember there's a million things we can all be thankful for. Name any of them down the list, and put yourself into a higher framework.
As simple as, anything you grab. Like, I have a glass of water in my hand. I could, thank the sand and the lightning for creating us glass. And, there's so many aspects to everything you can have gratitude for.
Yeah.
The people around you, the smell of the flowers in the air and the sound of the birds, and but when you're in dark places, you won't see it and you won't smell it and you won't taste it.
That's right.
And that's the hardest, scariest part, especially like me right now, knowing that I'm, it all comes through word, sound, power. Well, I could change my world just with my words, for sure. So I'm going to be careful on how I say this, but knowing that when I say you get tested again, knowing how dark those places you've been in the most recent times, that you might slip back into that for a minute because you're still going through it and healing and stuff. It's like, whoa, you don't realize how terrifying that those places are until you're out of it long enough that you're not comfortable in that place anymore, because it becomes a comfort place. That rage, that anger, those sensations, it's what you've wired your brain into feeling. That's my place of comfort. That's where I know how to be as a person. And so once you're starting to see that from the outside, you're like, holy heck, I don't want to go back there. How do I stay out of it? And so it makes you have to, pedal faster. Like,
right. And what do you do? Have you ever experienced, or share a little bit about, actually feeling deep rage and what that feels like and what is going on?
Me?
Maybe, energetically, what happens when that takes place?
I try to explain that to, people I'm close to, and it's really hard to describe, but it's a dark, scary place. It's my experience. You see red. You don't. There's nothing. You can be handed, whatever people think is great in the world, millions of dollars or whatever. Like, nothing can fix it. Nothing. In that moment, there's nothing. No one could say stop and breathe. No one could put their hand. Well, maybe sometimes a hand on the shoulder, but you're in so much rage, no one wants to be near you. So no one's going to come and comfort you. But maybe that's what you're really crying for, is like someone to just grab you and freaking squeeze you and tell you it's okay. But it's only you that can do that. And that's the scary place, because when you're in rage, you feel alone. You feel neglected. You feel abandoned. You feel not loved. You feel all the victim stuff is just all in one, and you're just this ball of like, you feel like you could push these brick walls out with your two hands. You're Superman power, and it's, I've felt, and luckily I've had enough control that I've never hurt anybody physically, and I've removed myself when those times come, because I know when it's going to come, and I know I can't escape it for a minute. So I have to go. I have to get away. My energy becomes so big, I have to be where it could be big, And it's, if you're looking from the person in the window, look at me, I'm just like this little child throwing his toys around the bedroom or whatever it is and crying for whatever. But in those moments, it's real. It seems very real. Like what I'm upset, what I'm raging about. No one wants to listen to me. No one understands me. Yeah.
Well, I like what you said, though, about removing yourself. So you're already, even in your rage, you're taking a big step. Because what happens a lot, and in my own experience, is that rage continues to be, blared or deposited or blasted at people that are loved, that the loved ones, and that's usually what destroys, the scene, which I'm aware of, is because of that lack of ability to just go, this is my rage I'm dealing with, remove yourself. So props to you, kudos for taking yourself out of any situation and then allowing yourself, knowing what you need in order to start dealing with it. Like I need to go rage. That's a really big step and an empowering step for anyone out there to actually take authority of I get to remove myself, and then maybe I do need to scream, but maybe I get to do it in my truck or, something like that where I'm not infringing my rage on other beings in my life. That's usually what destroys people's lives, is not that you're working through yourself, but that you might continue to do it to the person that helps you or that loves you, and then it just becomes traumatizing. And from my own experience, I did try to do that, and then I was just traumatized again myself because I couldn't hold that rage for that person. I wasn't able to do that. I wanted to even, but
no one should be able to.
Right, and I couldn't, and that was my own lesson of really the wounded healer and of my own father issues and my own movement of trying to find love and safety myself, which I, through my own reflections and stories, did the hard path of finding that, and have come into the other side of that, and I'm on different lessons, still lessons, but just different ones, still seeing the self but differently, and we're all on the exploration. None of us is there per se. Where is there to be other than at home in the heart, right? Knowing the self and unfolding ourselves. But speaking to the ability to do that responsibly and to take care of yourself, to make choices that you are choosing to make, and then to even acknowledge that there's sometimes, and this comes into, just claiming yourself, right? Have you found, has it been helpful? I'm curious, because I know separated energies often are playing in these realms, and sometimes there's things that come in when when one is in rage that doesn't even feel like yourself. Is that something that's ever happened to you?
Yeah, you mean like when I'm at rage, it's not me?
Yeah, like another energy, because when we're whole, I talk a lot about having holes, and when our holes are open in our wound, there we leave space for kind of separated energies, programs, things to ignite, and then maybe sometimes a lot of people I know have seen rage pull in entities, or then
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as far as I could say, it's not me. I don't even know.
What's happening at that point?
No, stuff is coming through. I'm like a vessel for
the entity activity.
Yeah, like just kind of like I've opened myself up because I've lost control, which now, on that level, if we're talking like those, more spiritual levels, I've now opened my vessel up for anything to come through. And there's stuff flying around that's 24 hours, millions of miles an hour. And so being in control of our vessel, this vessel that we have on this planet, the second you open that up because you lose control, I mean, it's just being used as, whatever. Like any entity can come and enter it and play with it and scream through it. And it's like this microphone right now. I literally can say a couple words right now and help or hurt or something through this microphone. I'm choosing to have a healthy conversation over this microphone. But when you lose control, now your body is this microphone that entities can now enter and say stuff. When you come back out of it, your partner's looking at you like, you said blah, 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 and you're like, I'm so sorry. I literally, that wasn't me. I did, it was a uncontrollable rage.
Yep. Thank you for sharing that. I've experienced that on the other side. Yeah, it's deep. It's so deep. And the ability to actually navigate that. So, which honestly, for me in the relationship we weren't able to navigate that. That was too much. There was too much rage. There wasn't enough responsibility. There weren't those awarenesses that you're, at the level that you're talking about, which is really being able to openly, authentically claim your rage, claim your anger. It takes that, and it takes us looking the truth in the face, right? And admitting these things so that we can free ourselves of them. And, so claiming sovereignty is why I love the tools of claiming sovereignty. So have you found any of the tools that you've been using to help you to really claim your sovereignty in the moment?
Yes. But it's not in the moment that is helping me. It's using the tools through the day.
Yeah.
So I have to stay on the tools and, go to sleep. And in the morning, and I had another good friend of mine, like, hey, it's okay if you wake up one morning and you don't, you forget, you don't say the things that you say every morning. It's okay. You're going to be okay. Like, you don't have to regiment every single thing so strong to the point where now that's your only sight. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I get in a rage moment, the tools in that exact moment probably aren't going to be the things that are going to help me out of it. It's what I do when I'm not in rage, which is, hey, I love you, Gabe. You're awesome. I love you to my child. You're an awesome person. You've succeeded in this today. You woke up and made your bed. What? Cool. Right? Points, And then, I am light. I am energy. Energy is everything. This vessel is mine to take care of. And it's like this microphone. I can walk through making someone smile when I look at them, or I won't even be noticed. So really just taking on the day of feeling good about myself and saying positive stuff to myself to heal who I am, so I can be proud of myself. I can't expect you to be proud of me or my kids. I have to be proud of myself and who I am as a person. And whether it's a small thing a day or a big thing, whatever your perspective is on that, as a man, take it little by little and just be proud of yourself. You don't need someone to tell you you're a good person, because now you need to tell yourself that you're proud of yourself. You need to trust in that. And then your rage will slowly start slipping away, because what are you raging about anymore? The rage is coming from someone saying something and you hearing them not acknowledge you as a good person or a man or you. But if you're acknowledging yourself and you're taking care of yourself, there's no room for that anymore, because you are now in control of your mind, which then now you're in control of your body and your spirit. So maintaining that control doesn't allow rage to come in, because you have to lose control for your body to be used on a different level.
Absolutely.
So the counting to 10, don't wait for the rage. Start healing yourself now. Do it when you feel good. When you feel good, put the work in. When you're feeling down, feel down for a minute. It's okay to feel down and whatever. But when it's time to rise, wake up in the morning. This day is going to be beautiful. This day is going to be epic. I'm going to make someone smile. I'm going to treat my friends or my partner or my kids or my grandmother or my dog or my cat. I'm going to treat them with love and respect, because that's who I am. And we all on this planet we're born with love and respect. We weren't born with hate. Nobody here was born with hate, anger, maybe some ancestral trauma, but you don't know that when you're a baby. We're taught these emotions to hold on to stuff and not let go. And as a man speaking out there, the women hold the keys, and if you're losing control and you're not showing up for them, those keys aren't going to unlock the doors that you need to unlock. So we're all in this together. And what I'm really feeling is, for men to be a man, it's not about how many pigs you can hunt or how many accolades you have or anything like that. It's about being mature emotionally with yourself, looking at everything in a mature enough way that you can handle someone saying something to you without being passive aggressive or having these little things. But like, everyone's going to say something to you or about you. It doesn't matter. What do you feel about yourself? And then share that with the people around you, and we can all heal together.
Ooh, yes, absolutely. I love that, Gabe. And it's, what you're speaking to, just props. And I want to shout out to your partner, Maria, as well. Like, because having been in relationships where we were dealing with these kind of things, but yet there wasn't this, some things didn't work out the same way because we have to make choices, like you said. And I think that what you were talking about, have really chosen to in essence save your family, to create and build your family in the way that is strength and will carry us through the future. And you take an ownership of yourself and doing responsible things with your rage. No, you don't have to be done with your rage, men out there. We just need you to take responsibility for it, and we need you to go do it over there in the corner and not at your women or at your children. We need that to be, that men help men do that responsibly too, and that we have authentic, open conversations about this, and that we support one another. Like, I'm in sisterhood with Gabe's partner, and that we're all in communion as humans to open and support.
Brothers can get together.
Yeah.
Learn from our rages.
Mm-hmm.
Go back instead of feeling disgusted by what you did or ashamed on the rage or proud of it, however you see it. Look at what you raged about and learn from that. There's, boom, you have a lesson. Awesome.
And we save and commune and we heal the woman, the masculine, feminine in that process. And gosh, there is just so much that Gabe and I could talk about today. And you know what? Our hour is blown by. So I'm obviously going to have Gabe back on the show so we can dive into more fun topics. We haven't even touched on technology, which there's so much to say there. Love to have a conversation about that with you. But this has been awesome. So we really, I think some takeaways that I've heard are just really admitting that I've heard Gabe say that I think are so cool are just men out there and all beings. Women can rage too, by the way. Victimizer, and all these programs can be in women as well. We all have wounding. So whoever's the rager, taking, really using your uptime when you feel good to do work on yourself so that you're proactive about what's happening. Right. Instead of reacting to life, you're choosing to be proactive and take authority over your creation, which is what your life is, your creation. So as we all learn to take more authority and responsibility, we get to experience more freedom. And it's just such good stuff. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Gabe. And don't take on the whole world. Focus on your neighbors and your loved ones nearby.
Zone 1 first. Absolutely. Okay, well, there's a lot more, but thank you so much for joining us here today at Intuitive Talk Story. Look forward to being with you next week, and have a glorious rest of your day. Aloha.